You are welcome to LFN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. There is this trending video of Kirk Franklin online where he was asked what he thought about R. Kelly's music, and whether it was okay for the world to continue listening to it, citing great songs like I Believe I Can Fly among many others. Everyone who was listening was waiting to hear what Franklin had to say about this, only to be disappointed when he too, like everyone else for a moment, forgot all his Christian values that suggest we are never to judge one another, for judgment is for the Lord. Kirk Franklin, instead of saying this was not his to decide, he did not hesitate to compare R. Kelly's situation to that of a pastor who abuses his congregation yet preaches good, and concluded that God did not create us to separate the person from his music.
You cannot, and God did not create us to be able to separate the two.
By giving such an opinion, Kirk Franklin passed on his own judgment onto R. Kelly, suggesting he knew Kelly was guilty, yet this is not his role as a human being. Also, by judging R. Kelly, Kirk Franklin did make it appear like he is holy himself, which just isn't the case. We all know that no one in this world is holy and sinless. The only difference between people is that while some live their lives publicly, others keep everything about them private. Shockingly though, mankind is designed to show the world how holy they are and how they are better than everyone else, and they tend to imagine the world is stupid enough to believe this. Self-glorification. If Kirk Franklin's life was to be replayed in video, I am confident the whole world would be shocked to learn just how many wrong things he has done in his life, and to see the people he has caused misery for while he pretends to be living on higher standards than everyone else. Because many people are quick to judge R. Kelly, they tend to drift away from the subject matter, which is the fact that the charges against him are just inappropriate. People who have a shallow understanding of how the law actually works call all that is bad in their opinion illegal, and likewise all that is good they call innocent. This is the very same bracket where Kirk Franklin, with his shallow analysis of the R. Kelly situation, and many others who have judged him fall. If all that is bad was actually illegal like these people think, then eating sugar alone would cause many of us to be locked up in prison. After all, according to health freaks, the use of processed sugars in foods is bad practice. What people forget here is that bad and good is relative and varies from person to person. While a group of people may think that having multiple wives or girlfriends is bad, it does not necessarily make it illegal, and to another group, it may actually be their preferred way of life and it's good to them. Likewise, dating women at the border of 18th may also look funny to some but could be a preference for others, and this doesn't necessarily make it illegal. Illegal by law is 17 and not 18. The argument the likes of Kirk Franklin are missing here is that however good or bad whatever R. Kelly did may have been, it all had to be proved illegal if he was going to be charged for it, and whatever charges were imposed on him were supposed to be proved in the trial court beyond reasonable doubt with concrete evidence. So whether Kirk Franklin thinks R. Kelly is a very bad man unlike him who is so holy and innocent, he ought to realize that the government failed miserably at proving the charges that appeared on R. Kelly's indictment. Without this accurate and sufficient evidence, which is a prerequisite for all criminal cases unlike civil suits, there was no way for the government to prove that R. Kelly was guilty of any of the alleged crimes, and this is the subject matter. Not Kirk Franklin's sentiments of whether R. Kelly is a good preacher or a bad one. It's therefore not a matter of comparing R. Kelly with his preacher, but more about proving whether that preacher actually committed the alleged crimes which failed the government miserably. The trick government used to prejudice R. Kelly was to have more precise allegations of physical and sexual abuse, kidnap, and many more that they could not prove, made through the media and the infamous Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, a TV show they would later refer to when falsifying charges without being held accountable for their inappropriate sources. This is how they managed to smuggle charges such as RICO and Mann Act violation together with child labor onto the indictment, even if they did not fit his situation. They knew well that if they charged R. Kelly for the specific allegations such as kidnap and abuse, they were never going to find appropriate evidence to prove these. With compounded and ambiguous charges such as RICO and Mann Act which have no clear boundaries, it was going to be a lot easier for them to falsify evidence, as it's more theoretical than practical for the common man like Kirk Franklin to understand. It would only take a keen eye like that of attorney Jennifer Bonjean to spot out the tiny details in the government's claims that did not add up to justify these compounded charges, and that is why until today, very many still fail to understand what R. Kelly was actually found guilty for. According to Brian, the problem with an individual like Kirk Franklin is his thinking that R. Kelly is in prison for the reasons he knows. He fails to realize that while the government described those reasons he may know, the actual charges that were imposed were completely different from what he knows, and these allegations were never really proved during trial. In order not to be answerable for the lack of evidence to prove the allegations the public thinks R. Kelly was convicted for, the government indicted for completely different matters grouped under RICO and Mann Act violations. Unlike this, they did away with all necessary accountability to prove their case to the public. With these compounded charges, they could say, R. Kelly is guilty, and the ordinary citizen would fail to realize they were lying all along. According to S. Craigie, whether it's R. Kelly or anybody else involved in illegal activity, they should be sentenced. But here's the thing. No one in this country, be it the government, should be involved in the act of victim tampering. The move to take R. Kelly's prison phone calls and email records only shows that the government lacks sufficient evidence to lock him up. Even though they imposed RICO charges on him, R. Kelly was not involved in any sort of racketeering. In fact, all charges including Mann Act and forced labor had question marks. If you pay close attention to his situation and look at not just the accusations and how these alleged victims acted, you will notice that someone is lying. I will say this one more time before I leave here: if the government has enough to lock someone up, there is no reason that they would need to do all of this. According to Tone Cobb, for so long Robert was being judged for not being a good dude and nothing else. Now everything is coming out and many people are going to burn their hands for what they did. Their day is coming. Always peace, love and respect to R. Kelly. I always said my brother is a good dude. We still love your music no matter what. If you wish to take part in a live interview discussing any of these topics, let us know by sending an email to sashalfnmedia@gmail.com for scheduling. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.